Hi, welcome to Energising Flow. So a nice, fiery, active flow today for you. You'll want to have a strap and a block handy, or any kind of replacement for those two things. And I would suggest having the strap sort of fairly close by. We'll use that quite early on, and a block at the top of your mat. So whenever you're ready, coming to find yourself in a cross-legged position or another seated position if that feels better for you. And closing your eyes if that feels comfortable. See if you can find a little bit of length up through your spine, maybe imagining drawing up tall through the crown of your head. And the hands can come one palm inside the other, facing upwards if you're feeling that you would like to be in a position to receive, to feel open. So maybe if you're feeling a bit sluggish or a bit tired today, that's a nice position for the hands to be in to receive energy if you're feeling that way. You can also pop your hands palm down onto your knees if that feels better, if you want to feel a bit more grounded. If today's felt a little fly away, if it's been one of those days where everything just feels like it's running away with you. So finding whatever position speaks to you the most today, whatever feels the best. And then taking a few moments to notice your breath, perhaps for the first time today, really giving it a little bit of time, just observing what's going on. No need to change it right now or for it to feel like it has to be a certain way. Maybe noticing where it is in the body, the area that it fills as you breathe in. So is it a shallow breath in the top of the chest? Or is there access maybe into the lower ribs, into the belly as you breathe in? And maybe just by noticing where your breath is, by observing, maybe it allows a little bit of space for your breath to come deeper, for the lengths of your inhales and exhales to become a little bit longer. Noticing this change, if there is a change or a shift in your breath. The new areas of your body, the new spaces that it begins to fill. Maybe you stay breathing with nose and mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Maybe it feels comfortable to take the breath just to the nose or to practice ujjayi breath. So going with what feels good, what feels natural for you today, what your body's needing. And perhaps taking with you for class today, checking in with your body about what it needs throughout. And seeing if you can do what feels best for your body. I think in some ways this actually becomes more difficult the more yoga that you do. And so if maybe you've been practicing for a while, seeing if you can find a little bit of space today to listen into your body and have your body be what's leading your practice as opposed to your mind. Maybe letting go of feelings of what you should be doing, what your body should feel like doing. and seeing if you're able to go organically with what it needs. And maybe sometimes that will be taking a step back. Noticing for a moment how the feeling of leading with your body settles with you, how that feels as you think about it. And if you'd like to, on your next inhale, maybe breathing in that intention to be led by your body in class today, if that's feeling good for you. Take in one more breath here of your choice at your own pace. And whenever you're ready, bringing the eyes to open. Starting off by taking a few shoulder rolls. So inhaling, rolling the shoulders forwards up towards the ears. Exhaling, shoulders come down. And you can really sigh out as you exhale on these if that feels good. And you can stay rolling backwards. If maybe you've been working at a desk, if your shoulders have been a bit far forwards, or if you want to take the shoulders the other way, rolling forwards, if you want to get the other opening, then feel free to do that. So really feeling into what your shoulders need, maybe what feels most beneficial. And then coming to a place of stillness when you're ready. Drawing your legs out in front and bringing your right foot over to the outside of the left thigh, bending the knee. So if you've got quite tight hips or tight legs, this might feel enough. You might find that you can bring the right foot behind the body a little bit. So it's okay if the knee stays up high. In fact, if you've got a cushion, you can always pop it in, fill the space, and then you won't feel as much gripping in the front. And if you're feeling very open in the hips today, you're welcome to lean over to the left-hand side and tuck over that other foot as well. So coming into cow face pose. So really feeling in there as to which option's right. You can, if you come in with both knees bent and you think, oh my God, this is way too much, then allowing one of the legs to straighten. And then if you're familiar with this pose, you might know already if you have the bind with the hands. Otherwise, having your strap handy. Sometimes, we have it one day and we don't other days anyway. So if you have been doing a lot of desk work, you might find that this is a day where everything feels a little tight. And when you're ready, reaching the right arm up towards the sky, growing tall with the spine, bending the elbow, allowing the palm to come to reach maybe the top of the back. And then left arm comes out to the side, palm to the back of the room, bending the elbow. And if it feels really comfortable to grab the fingers and take that bind, then feel free to do so. For a lot of us, it's probably going to feel more comfortable to have your strap in that top hand and then take hold of the strap. So what you're really looking for here is for that top elbow to be able to point straight upwards, for the chest to be open. So if in order to get the bind with the hands, you find that your elbow's leaning forward, your body's coming forward, then grab hold of your strap and that'll provide that opening and help the body to get to where it needs to be. And then once you're there, really breathing into that space, seeing if you can keep that elbow high. You've got a bit of opening through this left shoulder as well. And again, if you haven't got that bind with the fingers, seeing if you can find a little way to make some peace about that, to be kind to yourself. As with all binding, it's so dependent on the length of our arms, the tightness of shoulders that day, what we've been doing that week. So feel free to use the strap and really benefit from the pose, give your body what it needs. And then the longer you sit in this pose, you might find you begin to feel it more in the hips. So sending your breath deep down into the hips. Maybe you can find a little bit of space and openness. Perhaps you want to bring the eyes to close. Taking one more breath here, seeing if there's any more openness you can find in the body. How can it feel more spacious, more comfortable? And then on your next inhale, allowing the arms to release, maybe giving them a little shake. If you've taken the full cross with the legs, you might want to lean over onto the left side to allow that right foot to come out in front. And then bringing the hands behind the body, both legs come out, and a well-deserved little shake of the legs, maybe a rock side to side, maybe you want to have a little shake of the shoulders. Whatever you need, getting ready to come onto the other side. So starting with the legs on the other side, draw in your left leg across the right, down by the thigh, and it might be that this feels good staying here. You might feel that bringing the leg to face the back of the body feels okay, and you can fill that space if that feels good. You might want to lean over a little bit and also get the tuck with the second leg, and it could feel completely different on this side. So if one side felt really comfortable, on this side you're thinking, my God, this already feels like a lot, then allow that leg to come out, and don't feel pressured to take both legs. If you'd like to add in the arms, then this time left arm reaching up, bending at the elbow, and right hand coming out to the side, palm to the back of the room, bending the elbow, and seeing if maybe, you've got that bind with the fingers. So we're talking about a really comfortable bind, not gripping with the very, very tips and slipping and sliding. If it feels like you've really comfortably got that, then you're welcome to stay there. Otherwise, taking hold of your strap and allowing the body to do its thing, reaching that top elbow up towards the sky, allowing full openness of the chest. And maybe closing the eyes as you get a real broadening across the chest, a real sense of openness. Observing your body, how does it feel on this side? Is it a bit different? Is it tighter? Is there more space? Where do you need to send your breath? How does your shoulder feel? How do your hips feel? Seeing if you can take breaths that are just as deep as you were using at the very start of class. Allowing your exhale to come out through the mouth and be vocal if that feels helpful. Taking one last deep inhale here. Whenever you're ready, on an inhale, uncurling the arms. You can have a little shake of the shoulders. And carefully coming out of your legs, especially if both legs are bent, then you may want to lean over, gently bringing that left one out, followed by the right. Hands come behind the body. And a good shake through the legs, maybe a little windscreen wiper. Shake of the shoulders. So whatever you need here, letting go of any tightness, any tension in the body. And then moving your strap up and out of the way, coming onto all fours, hands and knees. And taking a few cat-cows here. So at your pace, whatever feels best for you, seeing if you can match one breath with one movement. So on your next inhale, perhaps allowing the tailbone to rise as the chest draws through the arms, coming into cow, maybe the gaze lifts too. Exhale, tucking the tailbone, rounding the spine, tucking the chin, coming into cat, really pressing through the hands as you come into cat, getting a sense of the core lifting up towards the back of the body. Inhaling, coming back through whenever you're ready, getting a sense of broadening, of opening and expanding through your chest. And then exhaling as you tuck them round, pressing through the hands. Inhale, finding your way back to center. And whenever you're ready, on your next exhale, tucking your toes under, pressing through the hands, lifting your hips, coming into downward facing dog. So it may be that if this is your first downward dog of the day, you'd like to take a nice big bend in the knees, focusing on the spine becoming long. Gaze comes between the legs. Seeing if you can allow the neck to be relaxed, the head to be relaxed. So seeing if you can really find space in this pose. And then from there, seeing if you'd like to maybe pedal the feet, straighten the legs, or keeping the legs bent for now. On your next inhale, either walking the feet or stepping the feet, coming up to meet at the top of your mat in halfway lifts. So maybe the hands come to shins or stay on the ground, drawing the spine long, gaze comes straight down. Exhaling, releasing into forward fold. Feel free to take a bend in the knees here if you'd like. And inhale, rolling up through the spine, coming to stand. Maybe the arms come out to the side, reaching tall up overhead. And exhale, hands come to prayer. Coming through sun salutation. Inhale, arms come up to the side, reaching up overhead. Exhale, diving forwards, hinging at the hips into forward fold. On your inhale, drawing the spine long into halfway lift. Exhale, bringing the hands by your feet, stepping or floating if that feels good. You can come through chaturanga, or maybe you'd like to take this first one, lowering the knees down, untucking the toes, bending the elbows. As you inhale, peeling up from the breastbone, coming into cobra, could be a baby cobra, full cobra, or your upward dog. Exhale, lowering down and finding a way wherever you are, back into downward facing dog. On your next inhale, bringing the right foot forward in between the hands. So using your hand to help it get there if that works better for you. Grounding down through your back foot and then rising up as you bend into that front knee, coming into warrior two. Almost forgot where I was there. Nearly came into a warrior one. So warrior two, reaching fingers to the front and the back of the mat. On your inhale, front palm reverses, lifting up to the sky, coming into reverse warrior, hand to back thigh. As you exhale, finding your way into extended side angle, maybe the elbow comes to the thigh, as your left arm reaches up and overhead, palm down. Or if there's a lot of openness in your shoulders today, then hand can come down to the ground. Inhale, rising back up into warrior two, keeping the bend in that front knee. And exhale, hands by the feet, spinning onto the back toe, stepping back to plank, coming through your version of chaturanga. So knees can be down, you can lower from full plank. Inhaling into upward dog or cobra. And exhaling, finding your way back into downward facing dog. On your next inhale, left foot coming forward in between the hands, grounding down your right foot as you rise up into warrior two. Taking a moment to draw the shoulders down, away from the ears. And then flipping the front palm, reversing your warrior, keeping a bend in that front knee. Exhaling, coming into your side angle. So maybe bringing the elbow to the thigh, or maybe if there's space and the chest can stay open, bringing the hand to the ground. Reaching out with your fingertips to the front of the mat wherever you are. Inhale, rising back up into warrior two. And exhale, hands by the feet. Stepping back into plank as you spin onto the back toes. And coming through your version of chaturanga. So if you're lowering all the way down, inhaling into cobra, otherwise upward facing dog. And then exhale into downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here, seeing if you can really ground down through the knuckles of each of the fingers. On your next inhale, stepping, walking, maybe floating, coming to the top of your mat into halfway lift. Exhaling, releasing down into forward fold. On your inhale, rising up, coming to stand, reaching tall. And exhale, hands in front of your chest. Coming through one more time, making sure your block's handy this time, somewhere near the front to the side of your mat is good. Inhale, reaching tall, arms come out to the side. Exhale, diving down into forward fold. Inhaling into halfway lift, spine comes long. Exhale, hands by the feet, stepping, walking or floating, coming through your version of chaturanga. Feel free to stay with the knees down if that's feeling good today. Inhaling into upward dog or into cobra. And exhaling, finding your way into downward facing dog. On your next inhale, right foot coming forward in between your hands, back foot comes flat, and finding your warrior two as you rise up and inhale. Coming through dancing warrior, inhale, flip the front palm, taking it into reverse warrior. Exhale, into your extended side angle. Feel free to stay on the thigh with the bent elbow if that feels good. And if you're feeling particularly open today and you'd like to take a half or a full bind here, option to either bring the top hand into the hip crease for a half bind, or to lower the right shoulder, bringing the hand underneath, coming into a full bind, opening up through the left shoulder. And you can use your strap here if you'd like, if you're trying out the full bind. Holding it in the top hand and using that to get the openness. When you're ready, releasing the bind if you took it, rising up into warrior two. And then taking hold of your block if you have one, or maybe you've got a replacement water bottle. Stepping the back foot in slightly, and then bringing the block down to the floor, coming into half moon. So block comes about a foot or so in front of your foot on the little toe edge, and the block comes tall. So you may want to keep your gaze down initially. flexing through the foot, so bringing the toes up towards the shin. And then seeing if you can open the hips, and maybe the hand also comes up to the sky. And then exhale, if you can, as gently as possible, stepping back into Warrior Two, releasing your block, spinning onto the back toes, and stepping back into plank, coming through your version of Chaturanga. Inhaling to upward dog or cobra. And exhaling back into downward facing dog. Taking a big inhale in downward dog. And exhale, lion's breath. On your next inhale, bringing the left foot forward in between the hands. Rising up as you ground that back foot down into Warrior Two. Coming through Dancing Warrior. Inhale, front palm reverses. And exhale into your extended side angle. Seeing what feels good on this side. Option to bring the right hand behind the back. If you'd like to take a half bind, or maybe you'd like to try the full bind on this side if it's feeling open, no pressure at all. So allowing the left hand to come under the leg. And again, you can use your strap. So if you're using the strap, grabbing hold of it in your right hand. And then taking hold of the strap. And then you get a lovely bit of openness through the chest. Taking one more breath wherever you are. And then rising up as you inhale back into Warrior Two. Stepping in, probably about a foot with your back foot. Especially if you've got quite a long stance, it just helps with getting into half moon. Of course, you're welcome to stay with a wide stance if you're feeling very practiced getting into half moon. Taking hold of your block, bringing your block down. So you want it a fair way in front of the body and on the little toe edge because you want it underneath where the left shoulder will be. And then reaching the body forwards, allowing the back leg to rise, flexing through the feet, and then opening up with the top arm, reaching the fingertips. And seeing if you can take one more breath. And then really carefully stepping back into Warrior Two, rising up. So you can always take that without the block if you want, but sometimes it just really helps with keeping the body open. As you exhale, spinning onto the back toes, stepping back to plank, and coming through Chaturanga. Inhaling into Cobra or Upward Dog, and you can also always skip this part and go straight to Downward Dog. So finding yourself into Downward Dog when you're ready. On your inhale, deep breath in, filling the body. Exhale, lion's breath to release. On your next inhale, rising up, stepping, walking or floating, coming into halfway lift at the top of your mat. And exhale, releasing down into forward fold. Inhale, rising up to stand, reaching toward the hands, and this time as you get there, opening the arms, wide cactus, open the chest, lion's breath to release. And bringing the hands to prayer. So no matter which options you took there, I hope that felt really good for your body. Option here to come into a little balance, or if you're feeling to take something more restorative, then you can bring hands to prayer, close the eyes, take a few minutes in mountain pose. If you'd like to try a little balance, bringing the hands to prayer, finding a little space to focus on. Inhale, rising up onto the tiptoes. And maybe reaching the arms up. It's okay to fall out, it's okay to wobble. Exhale, hands come to prayer. And bringing the heels back down. So I'd suggest making sure if your feet are not already hips width apart, definitely allowing them to be hips width apart for this next part. Inhale, just as we did before, rising up onto the tiptoes. And then reaching up if you want. Exhale, hands come to the chest, keeping the heels high, and an option to try and come down as slowly as possible, keeping the heels lifted and squatting down. So at any point you can come out of this, you can bring the heels down. We're going to come to meet in a squat at the on the ground. So if you do want to just come straight down, feel free. Otherwise, coming down as slowly as you can. It gets really hard. And then finding yourself in this little toe squat. And then wherever you are, bringing the hands to the ground, allowing the knees to come to the ground, and keeping the toes tucked. So coming in to open up the back of your feet. This can feel really intense. So if it does get too intense, you can bring the hands forward, or you can, of course, untuck the toes. That's all right as well. So if it feels bearable to have the toes tucked, you can bring hands to prayer, maybe closing the eyes. And this can be really quite intense, especially if you're a runner, if you're doing anything where your feet are working really hard. It's not often that the feet get all the openness and attention that we give the rest of the body in yoga. So if this is feeling like a lot at the moment, then it's probably because your feet have been working incredibly hard. Taking one more breath if you can, coming out at any time. And then if you want to from here, option to either bring the hands down to come back up into the squat, or seeing if you can come back up without bringing the hands to the ground. So some days that feels easier than others. It may be like me, you just about saved that one. And then wherever you are, bring in the hands behind and coming to sit down. What a relief for the feet. So maybe you want to bring the hands behind the body, allow the feet to have a little circle, a little release. That's so intense on them, isn't it? So whatever you need to let go there. And then when you're ready, drawing the right knee into your chest, opening the knee to the side, and the foot comes to the left thigh. Turning your body just slightly so that it's facing towards that left leg. Inhale, reaching up. And it's worth saying here, if you do want to sit on a cushion, if you notice you've got a bit of a rounding through the spine, this is a great time to pop a cushion under the hips. Otherwise, as you exhale, coming forward any amount. So really listening into your body here. If your hamstrings, the back of your legs are feeling really tight, it might be that actually staying quite upright today feels really good. If you're feeling open, of course, you can walk the hands down. It might be that there's a comfortable foot bind here, that the head comes down towards the leg. So seeing what's the most comfortable place for you, and I really encourage you to take a step back if you feel like maybe your body's asking for it. So wherever you are, allowing your body to soften and open. What is it asking from you? What does it need? Taking one more breath here. Seeing if you can send your breath into any areas that might still be holding. And then if your hands have come forward, if you've taken a fold, slowly walking back up. Bringing the hands behind the body as you begin to straighten your right leg, maybe a little shake through the legs. And then left foot comes in, same on this side, opening that leg out to the side, the foot comes against your right thigh. You might find it's good to have a little seat on a cushion here or a block. Turning the body slightly to face the right leg. Inhale, reaching tall. And then exhale, coming down any amount. So especially if you do something like running or cycling, you'll probably find you've got one leg that's tighter than the other. We're not normally symmetrical in exercise as much as we try. So again, feeling into this leg, how far do you want to go and what's feeling good? Sometimes what our bodies can do and what they want are two very different things. So having a little play around. I think for me, being a bit further out on this side feels really good. And sending your breath to any places of tightness. Wherever you are, how can you feel more spacious in this pose? Taking one more breath here, sending your breath to wherever it's needed most. And then slowly walking hands in if you've taken a fold. Hands come behind your body, allowing that leg to come straight. A little shake through the legs perhaps. And then scooting up to about halfway up your mat. This is a great time if you've got a couple of cushions to grab hold of them, bringing one to each side of your mat, having them available. And lowering down onto your back in whatever way feels good. Once you get there, bringing the soles of your feet together and allowing yourself to take this recline bound angle pose. So if you do feel very comfortable in this pose without any props, you might want to just settle in and nestle in and do what feels good for your body. I encourage you to use a couple of cushions if it feels good, or maybe just to try it out if you've never used it before. So it just offers a slightly more restorative option where the front hip flexors don't need to do any work and they can just focus on the opening. So really what you're doing here is you're filling space between the legs and the floor with the cushions. And once you get to a place that feels really good, where you've got a bit of opening in the hips, but it feels very comfortable, then your hands can either come by the sides, onto your belly. You can allow the arms to come up and overhead, palms facing upwards, maybe one palm in front of the other. The elbows can relax out. And if you've never taken this restorative version of this pose before, maybe noticing how it feels different to be completely supported and for the hips to not have to do any work in this pose at all. Maybe checking in, seeing if you're still gripping in the front of the hips. If at any point you feel that you need more support, if you need to make this higher, the great thing about cushions is that you can just fold them up, make them a little higher. So again, this is about listening into your body. Maybe you normally have your knees a bit further down towards the ground, but it feels good to give them a little bit more support today. And sending your breath deep into your body as you're in this really open shape. Taking one more breath here. Seeing if you can allow your body to let go any more than it already has done. And then bringing the arms back down by your side, maybe a hand under each knee, supporting the legs to come back to center. You can remove any pillows that you've been using off to the side. And then a gentle little windscreen wiper with the legs from side to side. As the legs come over to the right, allowing them to relax there. And maybe opening up your left hand to the side, gaze coming over your left hand, coming into a little spinal twist. So knees are over to the right, left arms out to the left side, gaze over the left arm. And exploring the feeling of this twist within your body. Sending your breath to all the new spaces you've just created, everything you've just opened up on this side. On your next inhale, allowing the head to roll back to center as the arms and the legs also come back to center. And then slowly exhaling, lowering the knees to the left. The right arm this time opens up to the side, gaze over the right hand, maybe the eyes come to close. And breathing into the space on this side of your body. Coming back to that deep, deep breathing at the start of class. Seeing if you can expand and fill the lower ribs, maybe the belly. On your inhale, your head rolls to center. Draw in the legs and the arm in when you're ready. Inhaling, curling up into a little tight ball, wrapping the arms around the shins, bringing the forehead to the knees, and taking a little squeeze. Exhaling, loud sigh out through the mouth as you come into Shavasana. So feel free to take any Shavasana pose that feels good. Feel free to get cozy with cushions, blankets, eye pillows, whatever it is that you have. You can pop on music, you can lower the lights. This is your time at the end of class to let go. Maybe taking a scan of your body from the top to the bottom. And as you're doing that, seeing if you can relax each part of the body, allowing it to melt deeper into the mat to be supported. Surrendering to the ground. The hard work has been done and the body finally gets to rest. Drinking in that restful position, that open pose, whatever you've chosen. Allowing the breath to flow in and out of your body naturally. Experiencing a sense of openness, of being grounded. And taking a few quiet moments to rest in Shavasana. If you're able to today, I really recommend staying here in this pose for a few minutes longer. You can pop on the Shavasana tune that I've got on my website. You can put on your own music, or you can stay in silent peace if that feels good. Allowing your body to receive this really important and restorative pose at the end of your practice. Thank you for joining me for this energizing and fiery flow today. Namaste.